So today, BOBI WINE was in Mbarara. Nobody expected that he was going to get such a reception. It's the reason that's why they played a lot of politics for him not to get such a welcome. It started in Isinjiro, where people were forced to close their shops and NRM paraded goons to fight off BOBI WINE supporters. But today, actually, he was in Mbarara despite the chicanery of trying to prevent him. In fact, on his hotel room, they waited for him like a king Buddha. Bamulinze nga kabaka nga bamulinze Mbarara. Abantu babadde bageza kuzanya politics okulaga mu Western region tewali obuwagizi bw'NUP naye kyabatuddemu. In fact, ku hotel bamulinze bwe bati yeno tape. So you clearly see that whenever BOBI WINE goes, he has a lot of reception. BOBI WINE is like an idea as a generation leader. He mixes well with the populace. And General Museveni is 80 years. Okay? So what you've seen there is Western region. Western region is like the bedroom of General Kaguta Museveni. With all fairness, even if it is a free and fair election, every candidate has a higher chance to win where he comes from. But even with that, they want to paint a picture that BOBI WINE has no support or following in the Western. It's the reason as why they first beat him in other districts. But here in Mbarara, he was welcomed very well. You clearly see that people came out on the streets to welcome him on the streets. Remember, Mbarara is mostly cosmopolitan, like all cities are. Mbarara has a lot of different tribes like Baganda, Itis and neighboring, Banyoro and Batoro, because it's like a capital city. So people going to Mbarara with such a reception drove jitters in General Museveni's belly. Okay, let me first add you another tape. Here's the tape. That is BOBI WINE, to show you that the regime was not happy with BOBI WINE coming to the Western. At first, the first rally was in, I think, Isinjiro, where they played data politics so that he can not get people. He went to, I think, another district, got a lot of people. They thought the people were not going to welcome him. When time came to Mbarara, the Ministry of Works came out with a letter saying on how BOBI WINE should not use certain roads. Because we all know if he uses certain roads, they can be overwhelmed. In a letter that was written by the Minister of Works, it is as follows. Because it was a letter that's written by the Ministry. It is as follows. Temporary sectional closure of the Mbarara-Ishaka Road. The Ministry of Works and Transport informs the public and all road users that the Mbarara-Ishaka Road will be temporarily closed from kilometer 3 plus 500 at Ruharo to kilometer 3 900 roundabout at Buffalo Restaurant due to emergency maintenance works at kilometer 3 700 at Woodland Gardens. The works will take place on Friday 7th. Remember, it's that same date where Bobi Wine holds a rally. The works will take place on 7th November 2025 from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. midnight. They were even specific. Drivers of heavy Mbarara bypass at Coca-Cola and Ruti roundabouts and Tarecha Mugurani Road for light vehicles to connect back to Mbarara Ishaka Highway and vis-a-vis. We regret the inconvenience and appreciate your cooperation. Bageya Waiswa, Permanent Secretary. So that was a letter that was written by the Minister of Works, blocking some roads which were supposed to be used by Bobi Wine in Mbarara. Cutters of trying to prevent him from passing some in certain roads because of if he passed in those roads, he would garner a lot more people. But even with that, they failed. Bobi Wine was welcomed by the Mbarara city because he first went to Mbarara, then Mbarara city. There's a difference between Mbarara district and Mbarara city. So all those tactics were to derail Bobi Wine. Nevertheless, he got the welcome. In fact, part of the video is here. That is the reception which was done in the city despite blocking some roads. It has always been a tactic for those people blocking the roads which Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu uses. It has always been a norm. But despite blocking the roads, he still got a lot of people. And for me, let me try to be fair. You know, Museveni, even if he has poor leadership skills and is a dictator, many of the districts within the Western region, he can win without even being so brutal to other opposition leaders. Maybe what he fears is if you allow Bobi Wine to campaign freely in your district, he may end up garnering more votes than he would have garnered. That's what he prevents. Dictators have a stronghold in their home areas because they see them as their person. In fact, if you ask him, it is wrong. A dictator is a dictator whichever place he comes from. If at all Africans should learn that even if my own comes from the same districts which I come from, if he's doing bad, we must call him out. It's the reason as to why the Europeans outgrew that. So even without using those bad tactics, he has an upper hand. But just that he fears that Bobi Wine would want to close the gap in the Western, and it is the truth. And I ask myself, why is it only done to one opposition leader, and that is Bobi Wine? You could see that we have a frontliner that threatens General Kaguta Museveni. Of course, as my opinion, remain yours truly, Mr. Makindi, Kabir Sulaiman Mawagali, the next MP for Makindi East constituency. Peace.